Welcome to the first YouTube stream for Mountain Audio Works. And I have spent way too much money yet again, as every year, with Black Friday, Black November, the eternal scam of the audio software world, on some new plugins, sample packs. I bought 7 gigabytes worth of drum samples, and I don't regret it. I feel like they're going to be a good upgrade over the standard Slate trigger files that I do use, because I don't use the deluxe packs. I just got some off of Just Add Drums, Gent drums, Terminator drums, which I think they threw in for free, if I recall correctly, and wood snares, which sound brilliant. They're like pre-processed as well as dry, and you can blend them in together. Hey, man, how are you, bro? Thanks for joining in. Come hang out. I'm just doing the intro just now. So I bought a bunch of drum samples, and I got Archetype Misha at the behest of the kindness of Neural DSP this year. They've been really sick this year by offering a full 50% discount on their latest plugins, which includes Mantra, their vocal mixing plugin, and Archetype Misha Mansoor, which is the latest plugin they dropped a couple of months back, which I did try a little bit. Didn't play with it too much. I definitely didn't mix with it. And the reason why I'm so excited about it is a couple things. Firstly, them having... Ooh, hey Gav, thanks for joining. Come and hang out. I'm going to talk about some new plugin stuff, as you might have seen on the thumbnail. Hey. Archetype Misha. So I was saying about Archetype Misha that it has some really cool pedals added to it. Let me show you what we got. All right. So Archetype Misha is really sick because it's got licensed Horizon Devices pedals, namely their compressor and the precision drive, which I own a hardware version of it, and I've been waiting forever for us to get something like this in at least one of the neural suites, or I think eventually in the Quad Cortex. And the other thing is the ring mod pedal, the laser pedal, which I think it's simplified what was often a very involved process to kind of pull off in production, and they've just made it really convenient by having it as an expression pedal. I'm thinking of using this in the breakdown for this track by my friend Ben, but that is something I need to explore a little bit at length. And the other thing, the default tones on Archetype Misha is ridiculous. I think this is a new king of high gain that can replace, for sure, Gojira. I think Gojira's kind of gotten a little bit stale. Everybody has Gojira. Every metal record over the last 5 years have had Gojira. Yo. And I think the new algorithm and a lot of the feature sets they've added to Archetype Misha is something that needs to be kind of applied across the board. So I got Archetype Misha. And the other thing I blew a bunch of cash on is on Submission Audio's Pre-Fire, which I've been waiting on this for about a year and a half for it to come on sale. It missed last year's sale because it was a bit too new. And this is it uses kind of like NAM tech, neural amp capture tech. From what I believe, they worked with the founder of NAM to come up with this plugin. And it models a lot of really kind of like classic preamp flavors across the board. Got Neve, TGI, Chandler preamps, which is what they use in Abbey Roads. UA610 Universe 2 preamp. The Manly Voxbox preamp. Focusrite ISA. Gemel, I forgot what that is. Millennium, bunch of clean ones. The API, which is awesome. Another Neve kind of preamp, Germanium, Midas preamp, which is used in live consoles. And yeah, I think that's 11 in total. And I see this as like I think a very good replacement for Sun Toys Decapitator, which I think I would compare this to be the overdrive of what Decapitator would be more like a Boss Metal Zone to MT2 kind of thing, because it is a lot more smoother, a lot more musical, but enough yapping. Let's have a listen to what we've got so far and maybe shoot out some of different kind of like neuro plugins on guitars. So let's jump in right here. Comes a break down, goes two more semitones lower. Mad. Absolute madness. So if at all familiar with dealing with A-string guitars, at a tuning like double drop C is that you start losing so much clarity the lower you go. Mind you, an A-string guitar tuning is an F sharp and low E on the eighth string rather. I tune to double drop E. But Ben has other ideas for society and the future of metal, and he just went down low, way too low. And the original the original printed out tracks he gave me, he did cook it up a little bit. The ones that he printed for me, I found the issue of it sounding a little bit too buzzy in the top end. We'll just have a listen to it real quick. So I did find it to be a bit problematic to use the original guitar tone he sent because it had a bit of his, too much of his top end fizz in the upper mids. Around 4K to 8K, there's just some stuff that I didn't like. I couldn't EQ them out, and I spent a long time trying to make them work, but I couldn't. I just couldn't. And just to showcase what I meant, here are the plugins I had before I got Archetype Misha. Let's call these Archetype Test. Set a different icon. I don't like the strat. Cool. Let's use that. Let's substitute the plugins out. Yoink, yoink. Listen to the left guitar. Here's a DI. Did a bit of EQing. Cut out some of the mud. Push up a little bit of the mids. So originally I was trying Archetype Nolly, which is a great plugin if you're sitting around kind of the drop C and drop D kind of region of tunings. Maybe a little bit lower, I'd wager, but it does struggle kind of entering into the 8-string territory. We'll have to listen to some of the default tones on this. Shoot that out with the Archetype Misha. We'll be hearing some weird stuff because I added an octave on that, but yeah, this was Nolly. Put that over. Don't get me wrong, it's not bad, but it needed a bit more girth. And I think what Archetype Misha is really great at is the amp number 2, which I believe is probably another 5150 neural amp, which I think is a meme at this point. Every single amp sim from neural is just another flavor of 5150, but it's been kind of little altered, a bit more bespoke for the Gent Lord. I tried that. But my go-to usually for A-string is Nameless, Forte Nameless, which is brilliant for really, really low-tuned stuff. But I feel that it kind of lacked kind of the clarity and push that I wanted. I love Buster Oldham's preset Fall. It's a bit like chalk on nail on chalkboard type situation with this one. It's a rush. Yeah, it's just doing way too much. And if we listen back to with Archetype Misha. That's for the octave we're on. Sec. That's a Buster Oldham trick, which is add an octave layer beneath your main guitars, and that just kind of adds a lot of that low-end girth, the Argentinian girth, if you know that reference, to giggle to yourself. And a big part of why Archetype Misha is so great is the precision drive. If you've never used a precision drive, it is an Ibanez tube screamer on steroids, I think is what I'd call it. And one of the cool features of the precision drive is the attack knob, which is essentially a high pass filter, but a little bit more complicated than that, I think. And it is, I think, really purpose-built for low-tune metal guitars. And it's something that with the tuning this low, you need that clarity, and Precision Drive just delivers. I was using Dr. Drive before, but it's just not it, man. If Dr. Drive is like Timu, it's Timu Precision Drive, that's for free. I think it has some elements or a bit of the DNA of what the Precision Drive sounds like, but I don't think it's nearly authentic enough. That's one. Two, I think, especially if you're trying to apply it to already printed guitars, it just doesn't work that well. It has to come before the amp for it to kind of do its thing. As per the real world, yeah, Dr. Drive, I'm not a big fan. Now, with the Precision Drive, stick it out. Listen to it without Precision Drive. Oop. Here you go. I don't know if you can hear it on your phone or your laptop, but a big part of it is the bright knob and the attack and volume. You keep the drive all the way down, and I think from what I read or watched Misha talking about the Precision Drive when it came out around a while ago, is that the settings at noon is basically, I think, the furthest you could go on a tube screamer or an equivalent pedal. So anything above 12 o'clock is like pushing it hard. So a little goes a long way. And the attack and the bright knob is just what you really, really need. The compressor is great as well, I think, on this. And I think it really keeps the guitar together. Now, we listen to that again without the octaver I've added below it. Leave it on. Ooh, where's the other one? Where's the other one? Yeah. Couple that with the bass. I use Parallax. Parallax is awesome. Nero, please sponsor me. I love your stuff. Parallax is just, I think, the all you need kind of plug-in for bass for like rock, metal, anything really, other than of course clean bass. I use Corey Wong for that. Quite good DI tones and clean tones. I'm using Connor Kaminsky's preset Eldritch Gain, which is my go-to, I think. Yeah, it's monstrous. I cannot understate how good Parallax is. It's just kind of I saw this video a while back from Joel Wanasek, the URM guy, and he was talking about processing bass. You know, you're doing that two-way, three-way split thing where you do crossovers, which is what Parallax does. It makes crossovers of the low end, the mids and highs. There's a compressor in the low end, and the crossovers in the mids and highs have distortions on them. And you get to retain clarity of the low end by not distorting it. And you get to distort the parts that you do want to hear, and adding a lot more harmonics. That's what makes low end audible, is adding additional harmonics above the fundamental. And instead of going through all this kind of complicated kind of plug-in chains and duplicating the tracks and stuff, Parallax just combines it all together. So here's what it is. It's off. That's the DI. If we compare it to what Ben sent me, it's not too far off. A bit buzzy, not enough low end for me, but that's what we're working with. What I do want to try, though, that I really want to explore is using the laser pedal at the end for the breakdown. Kind of want to get that Villanova vibe they've been doing on their latest album, which is sick. If you haven't checked it out, check out Villanova. They are trailblazing right now in the game. It's just wild. You know what? Here's what we can do. I'm gonna chop that off. Just have this duplicate for the breakdown. And we'll blend that in together with the main guitars. Put this down. Yoink. How's that sound? We gotta push that up a little bit. Yeah. Ooh. Ooh. Oh shit, we doubled up the plugin that side. My bad. Duplicate this over. I wonder if it sounded weird. Oh, yeah, dude, that's crazy. I think this plugin just has so much potential, and I do really think that it's gonna be like every single metal mixing tutorial you're gonna see. It's just gonna have Archetype Misha on it, and I missed the initial hype train when it came out because I just didn't have the money to buy it outright. I needed a discount on it, but I'm really excited to make this a part of my workflow. And yeah, there's like that's what I really like to explore that a little bit more. Just the glitch pedal, which I do kind of just need to learn how to use that. So I'm not going to embarrass myself by trying that out right now. I don't think I have the right material for it, and I have my guitar out. The other thing I got is the Pre-Fire. The Pre-Fire is that preamp pedal by preamp plugin, sorry. By Submission Audio. They do some really, really sick stuff. Namely, their bass libraries are top tier for metal. So yeah, let's just have a listen to a couple different flavors. Yeah, that sounds like the Vox box. It doesn't break up very well when it push a bit too hard. I'm not a fan. So far, I'm a big fan of the Neve, which I think this one isn't actually 1073. I think it's a copy of a similar circuit. Big fan of the Neve. The API sounds great. I think API sounds great on material that's really fast and transienty. It's just the thing that you kind of need, but it adds a really nice kind of low end and richness having this pre-fire on. I do wish pre-fire had better gain compensation. Like, it's technically not getting super loud, but as you push the drive up, the additional saturation just increased the perceived loudness a bit too much. So you spend a lot of time just doing this manual gain compensation thing, which the Decapitator has, but I don't think it does a good job as well, personally speaking. Yeah, a lot of extra weight having that on. So try that on the guitar, see how that sounds. Pushing up to around 6, you can start hearing it breaking up a little bit too much. Like the API. Oh, sounds so good. The funny thing is, I've touched a Chandler TGI preamp. It was at the university I was at, studied for a couple of years, but I never really got to work with it in mixing or tracking with it. But here's my second chance at it, I guess. But I do like how these production layers sound like with the TGI. Saturation is your friend if you're not already keenly aware of that. Then just gives a lot more life for something that I think nowadays a lot of projects are all done in the box, which there's really good sounding plugins nowadays for drums, GGD stuff, submission audio stuff. But I think making the analog signal flow a part of the logic in your workflow in the box and digitally is one of the things that can really take your mix up. I think in both the richness and getting rid of some of that clinicalness that's associated with digital recording and not working with any kind of console. Yeah, pushed it way too far. The CGI, the breakup as you push it really, really hard, it sounds good. It's way more musical than, I guess, some of the tube bass stuff like the UA 610. It just gets destroyed. The TGI still kind of maintains its structure. It's overneath. Very pleasing. Really happy with these plugins. They just sound brilliant. Very, I think we are in the best timeline for music production. There's just so much that something like for NAM, neural amp modeling, what it brings to the table through machine learning, it, it's able to achieve what algorithmic modeling could do if you just spent a lot of time kind of doing it on a component level, but a lot more efficiently, with a lot more detail, and in a way that's accessible, that's just not so DSP heavy. The stuff that Neural's doing with quad cortex, all the NAM modeling that's showing up in more affordable effects processors for guitars, and seeing it in plugin form for studio gear is a welcome sight for me, really. So I do look forward to maybe more plugins coming out using that, and if it means that we'll be able to get better sound result with less processing, I think I'm all for it. I'm fortunate enough to have a system that can, run on a lot of processing on, but I welcome any reduction in processing. I am looking at Acoustica. Freaking heavy ass plugins, 10 gigabyte size, too much. So, yeah, I'm probably gonna pop out the pre-fires for now. I do need to dial those in properly because it's really easy to overcook your mixes with way too much saturation, and I do love adding saturation everywhere. Tape, preamp, transformer, compression, saturation, but I think the key thing is kind of stacking all these different forms of saturation across like different aspects of an analog signal chain is really important to get a really good, depthy, thick, rich warmth that we all love in our music. I don't think I have enough time to talk about the samples, but thanks for anyone who tuned in. I'll probably try to be a lot more coordinated and scheduled my live streams. I've been doing it kind of at a whim of whatever I feel like doing, or whenever I have the energy, feel inspired to go on live, more out of frame. But I'd love to be able to do this more frequently and talk to anybody who's on these and talk about gear, talk about mixing, processing. I'd love to learn from you, and I'm happy to have other people learn from me as well, but I don't claim to be an authoritative expert by any means. But I'm just glad I have the opportunity to kind of talk and yap about the things I'm really into at the moment. If not, it's more like a echo chamber in my own head about all these funny little plugin stuff that I tend to keep to myself. But thank you for anyone who tuned in. I'll catch you guys another day. Peace.